If you look here, there's this narrow strip of ocean between Indonesia and Malaysia that controls essentially all trade in Asia. We're talking about oil, gas, goods. And this strait, well, it's full of ships, from oil tankers to cargo ships to fishing boats, all waiting in line to safely pass through this narrow strip of water. Now let's take a closer look at this 40-mile wide gap between two countries. You'd never think about how much money passes through here every day, and it's in the billions. But this place wasn't really utilized until 400 years ago. This is a story about how one man used geography and built a kingdom on this trade choke point, became super rich, and how the Europeans stole it.
Right now I'm in the city of Malacca, and this is one of the most important trade routes in the world. But what if I told you a couple hundred years ago this was already the center of ancient trade? Now, the Chinese, the Arabics, the Indians all traded around this port. So what made this port so special, and what is the history behind this port? Well, let's find out.
So this strait was named after the city of Malacca, which was founded by a sultan who literally just lost his kingdom. So the story goes that while he was running away, he got to present-day Malacca and witnessed his servant's hunting dog fight a mouse deer, and thought, hey, let's build a city here. But why did this city thrive? Now, the world looked very different from what it looked like now. This is a map of all the dynasties and countries that existed in the early 1400s, mapped by the great Chinese explorer Zheng He.
Malacca was able to be super successful due to its incredibly unique geographic location.
And as you can see, Malacca was the only sea trade route that connected the Arabian Peninsula, India, and Africa to Ming Dynasty China.
Now that is why this middle port was so successful, and it became an incredible place for riches. Main things that would be traded here are porcelain, silk, spices, anything that the Chinese kind of wanted.
Within less than 30 years, the first Sultan of Malacca turned the small city into the center of trade in Asia. He was so successful that even the Yongle Emperor of Ming invited the Sultan and his family to pay homage to him.
So the Yongle Huangdi, during his reign, actually heard of Malacca and wanted the Sultan of Malacca to pay homage to him, and actually invited him to the capital city and met with him. So this is a recreation of that scene in the Zheng He Museum in Malacca.
And with insane wealth comes many enemies who want to take that wealth from you. And this is essentially the beginning of the Malaccan Sultanate's downfall. There's these people called the Portuguese who you might have heard of before, essentially wanted to control most trade routes from Asia to Africa. And they thought, well, might as well take Malacca as well, and this is how they did it.
So you might be wondering, isn't Malacca a European colony? Look at all the European culture and architecture within this city, right? Well, here comes the Europeans.
So essentially, the Portuguese king Manuel was like, bruh, I want the Malaccan money. Let me send my boy Diogo to go negotiate with them. And my boy Diogo actually did very well. He established a trade mission in Malacca, and the cash came flowing in. For a while, everyone made money. Then it kind of went downhill from there. The Sultanate at the time heard that a bunch of Muslims were being mistreated in the Portuguese colony of Goa and decided to retaliate and kill some Portuguese delegates in his own kingdom. What followed next was retribution and war. And in 1511, another one of Manuel's boys, the infamous Alfonso, who killed a bunch of people around the world with an armada of Portuguese ships, took the city of Malacca.
So it is ships like these that the Portuguese used to attack Malacca and invade Malacca. And just imagine being a soldier defending your home in Malacca. It would be so damn scary just having these wooden massive monsters raining cannon fire down on you. Just imagine that.
After the Portuguese took it, the city pretty much remained under foreign rule. First it was the Dutch, then the British, then the Japanese. It really wasn't until the mid-1950s whereby the decolonization of Southeast Asia began and Malacca finally rejoined its Malayan counterparts.